Hey everybody, we got a great show lined up for you guys today. Welcome. And tonight we're going to be getting into ghosts and a bunch of haunting experiences, as well as a couple of epic Bigfoot experiences. All that along with the Paranormal Portal news and the Discord question of the week. So stick in there. We're about to get spooky. Hey everybody, how you guys doing tonight? We're kind of hitting the ground running. I realized I forgot to do something here. It's Wednesday. I don't ever remember everything, but I forgot to enable the chat on our OBS here. So let me just do that quick so that all your glorious comments appear on the screen. There we go. All right, welcome everybody to our Wednesday show, as Don and I are ready to kick into it. That's right. I said Don. It's my good friend, my co-host, the big toe of the Paranormal Portal, Mr. Don Longbeard. How you doing, brother?
That has got to be one of the coolest names I've seen.
What's that?
Luna Moonicorn.
Oh,
I don't know where
that is cool.
I don't know where that person came from. Hi, how are you? Turn yourself green and we'll be friends. Yeah. But yeah, that's an awesome name, Luna Moonicorn.
That is cool. Well, welcome. It's a new name for me too.
Wow.
It's always cool to turn on the stream and to meet new listeners. That's awesome. And hello to our regular listeners. Glad you guys are out there, regular viewers. I guess you're viewers. Yeah. Not only listening, you're part of the experience.
Yeah, exactly.
But we've got an epic amount of material to try to get through tonight. We'll get as far as we get, but
that's right.
We'll have a blast doing it. Hopefully, if we do our jobs right, Don.
Yeah, that's true. You know, he was going to name the show Haints and Taints tonight, but it was alliterative, so,
What's that? I don't remember taint. I did say haint because, for the record, that is a term the Old South uses for like Bigfoot. It's the haint. But the taint was all done. That was his editorialization.
The Haint's taint makes sense.
Well, would you want to be near the Haint's taint?
Not really.
No.
That might be what everybody smells.
They do call them skunk apes. All right, so we got a lot of things to get to, but before we go any further, I just want to tell you guys that we have, of course, a sponsor of the show to get to, and that's, of course, our good friends at Extreme Expeditions have made Cryptid Coin. It's a cryptocurrency that has its heart in cryptid research and investigation, so if you're looking for an alternative investment, maybe that's one for you. I don't know. Check it out, though. It's cryptidcoin.io. You can get more information and see what you think. Again, that's cryptidcoin.io. And not only that, but Extreme Expeditions Northwest LLC also is the ones that put on a really great conference, and it happens in Spokane Valley in Washington, and that is the Spokane Valley Sasquatch Roundup, and this is the third annual one that they're doing, and this will be happening next year in June 17th at the Spokane Valley Convention Center, I think. Is it that? Is that the event center? My apologies.
Nothing's called the conference.
I don't know. I'm such a.
It's just where the best friends gather.
Sure. Well, Cheers. They got a great load of speakers here, and I've been talking about it for several weeks. This gentleman here is Charles Howard Johnson. He's a good friend, and I've investigated with him at the Davenport Hotel, and we'll be investigating with him again. And he's just a phenomenal guy. He's a paranormal investigator as well as a Bigfoot researcher. So he'll be presenting on his Bigfoot research there, along with this gentleman, Michael Freeman, who was just on Untold Radio AM tonight. I was watching part of that before we went live here, Doug Hijack's show. And that's Michael Freeman. He's the son of Paul Freeman of the famous Freeman footage. If you're into Bigfoot, you know the Freeman footage. And also coming up, the keynote speaker will be Dr. Jeff Meldrum. And our good friend, Mr. Ken Gerhardt, is supposed to be there as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great event. So if you're in the neighborhood or can be in the neighborhood, it's a one-day event, again, at the Spokane Valley Event Center, June 17th. is the date. So check it out, and I would love to see you there.
Yeah, there tain't nothing like it.
There tain't nothing like it. Yeah, absolutely. And so that's that part of the show. But Don,
yes,
are you ready for some of the news?
Some news, certainly.
Let's get to the news, folks, and find out what's going on. What's on the hot sheets tonight, Don?
Brown chicken, brown cow.
I don't think that's on the hot sheets.
Oh.
All right, let's check it out. How the hell did that happen? Wrong button. I'm so out of practice. It's funny, a few days difference makes.
Right.
Oh my God. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. Good to see you, David. Good to see you, and everybody that's here. We'll do shout-outs a little bit in a little bit here, but let's get to the news. I've managed to aggregate several articles I hope that you guys will enjoy. If you don't, there might be something wrong with you, or me.
Maybe it wasn't aggregate. Maybe it was just aggravate.
Yeah, well, it might be aggravate. You'll see what you guys think after I start reading them. And of course, we use oftentimes unexplained-mysteries.com, which is an amazing site. I just love this site, and I can't tell you enough. Please go support these guys. They're doing amazing things over there. It's always timely. It's up to date. I've read things on there that I haven't seen for days on other news outlets. So if you're looking for current and up to date stories and information, check it out. And everything's by TK Randall. And I don't know, this one guy or person is doing a hell of a job over there. So definitely support what they're doing. And the first article up to bat is U.S. Navy dealt with over 150 UFO incidents between 2016, I almost said 2016. I guess that'd be right. I don't know. It sounded weird in my head. And 2021. So in a 5-year period, it was 150 UFO incidents that they dealt with.
1, Two,
yeah, I know. Counting's not my strength, Don.
3. Just ask Porta Mom. Hi, Porta Mom.
Hi, Porta Mom. All right. Newly released reports have revealed the scale of the phenomena and the number of incidents that have been documented. According to documents released through the Freedom of Information Act request, they give us the FOIA, and obtained by the War Zone, there were more than 150 documented incidents involving UAPs, or unidentified aerial phenomena, during the 5-year period between 2016 and 2021. Of the reports, only 35 could be released, while a further 116 remain classified. What happened in those? Wow. Mm-hmm. The incidents range from the obviously innocuous to the highly compelling, with many involving encounters with mysterious drones of unknown origin. So you think they're drones. What if they're just really little? Action figure size. We don't know. One of these
teeth on Orion's neck or belt.
Little guys. One of the most interesting reports details the case of a drone swarm encountered off the coast of California in 2019 by the USS Paul Hamilton and Arleigh Burke class destroyer. I don't know what that means, but it sounds badass. Sorry. Sorry, that just came out. I usually have a better filter.
It's okay.
UAS closed to within 500 yards of PHM, repeatedly maneuvering aft to forward. The report reads, at 0330L, I guess that's latitude, I don't know, a UAS, an unmanned aircraft system, with 4 white lights and a flashing red light, hovered approximately 200 yards above PHM and maneuvered from aft to forward. This is tough to read. At 0332L, another UAS hovered with no lights, approximately 300 to 500 yards off the bow of PHM, and once again shined the bow and bridge with what appeared to be searchlight or photographic device. You were being scanned.
Wow.
How can you say?
It's a searchlight.
They were taking pictures.
They have no...
There's a bunch of people with holding up peace signs.
Hi, Mom!
There were also 4 reports covering separate incidents that occurred either in or near Hong Kong, including the case of the USS Chaffee, another Arleigh Burke class destroyer, which encountered 2 unidentified drones while it sailed into the main port back in 2017. One UAS landed on Chaffee and was secured by ship's force.
Wow.
What does that mean? The report reads. The second UAS flew away from the vicinity of the ship.
So what happened to the one that landed?
I don't know, and secured by ship's force. Exactly who or what was responsible for these incidents, as well as those covered by the vast archive of additional classified as yet unreleased files, continues to remain a total mystery. Wait, yeah, it sounds like they captured one, right?
That's what it reads to me.
One UAS landed on the Chaffee and was secured by ship's force. That means they captured it, right?
Well, like a Lilliputian and a Gulliver.
Yeah, I don't know. That's strange.
That's interesting.
Well, there you go. Another recovered technology.
You know, I know this guy. I met him a couple years ago, and he was in the Air Force.
Okay.
And he was Air Force, yes. And he was on a boat. I don't remember which one it was, but he was telling me that they actually have these boats, these ships that can kind of hover, and they can, like a hydrofoil, it comes up, but it doesn't go fast. It can come up like onto a foil and then come up over a ship and basically encapsulate the ship, and then it's inside the bigger ship, and then it drops back down to your water line, and then goes away with the boat. He was telling me, and this is a U.S. Navy boat, a U.S. Navy ship, and he was telling me that there was a report, and he could give coordinates and everything to where this thing was, that some kind of a craft was hovering above the water, and a U.S. Navy ship came over, picked it up, and took it away.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I can't ever get a hold of this guy. I really want to talk to him again.
Yeah.
But I don't see him. So.
Right. Wow. That's pretty deep. I mean, that's incredibly profound if that's the case, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if we're capturing these things all the time, then what the hell's going on? So, what are they doing with them?
Yeah, exactly. What are they doing? It's a UAP chop shop.
They're parting them out for stereos.
Well, which is funny because you know what we found behind the store today?
What?
Behind the mall today? We found a Mini Countryman, a Mini Cooper, but they have the Countryman, so it's a different.
Okay.
By Mini, it was just totally stripped.
Oh,
everything,
wow!
Everything from the drive line forward was taken.
Oh, wow!
The motor, the battery, the lights, everything. The lights were stripped out. There were no seats in it. The steering wheel was laying on the floor.
Oh my God!
We have no idea what happened to this thing, but it was stripped.
Man.
So that's what they're doing is they're running a chop shop for. That's why they're so far ahead of us in
rims and stereos, baby.
Yeah,
that's
and
it.
Stereos. Yep.
All right. Well, the next one up is more of a new, I don't know, creature. I guess that was discovered or newer. Let's check it out. This comes from unexplained-mysteries.com. Jet black shark with extendable mouth looks like a real-life alien xenomorph. Of course.
Extendable mouth.
Right? Look at that.
Oh.
It does.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, it looks like it has it has an unattached jaw.
Right, that can separate from the top and shoot forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like those goblin sharks almost, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, except it looks like it's just bone.
That's just crazy.
That's creepy looking. This fearsome-looking denizen of the deep has needle-sharp teeth and a terrifying extendable mouth. At a glance, this ferocious eel-like beast looks like something out of a nightmare. A jet black shark equipped with rows of needle-like teeth and a secondary jaw that can protrude from its mouth like a xenomorph from the Alien franchise. Known as the viper dogfish or viper shark, the species is very seldom seen, with its existence only being confirmed as recently as 1986.
Wow.
And only a handful of specimens have ever been seen or photographed. This particular specimen, which recently went viral online, was caught around 5 years ago by Taiwan's Fisheries Research Institute during a survey near Dongyi Township. The species has also been spotted off the coasts of Hawaii and Japan. Wow. How big is this thing? 60 centimeters. I don't know how big that is.
That's not that big, yeah.
Okay. Despite its unsettling appearance, however, it's worth noting that the viper dogfish is not actually that large, growing only to around 60 centimeters in length and lives on a diet of crustaceans and bony fish. Even so, you probably wouldn't want to come across a group of them out while swimming. Yeah. That's a creepy looking deal, though.
It's just under 2 feet.
Oh, that's still big enough to take a chunk out of you, I guess, if they were hungry enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and how do they know? How do they know these aren't just the babies? How can they tell that, no, this is as big as they get? Because that's the biggest you found of all 5 of them?
Yeah, exactly.
Found 5 of them. The biggest one was 2 feet. That's as big as they get. Yep, leave it to science. Put a bottle on it.
Fossil record.
Fossil record, that's it. Yeah, there you go. That's a creepy looking thing, though. Yeah. This stuff of nightmares. I was listening to some guy today or yesterday, I don't remember which, and he said, science has only cataloged about, 14% of the life on Earth?
I believe it.
Yeah. So that means, really, there couldn't be anything else? Really?
Well, fossil record.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same damn thing.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know where the hubris comes from when they don't know
Well, they're scientists.
so much. Well, of course, trust
They
the
know
science.
everything. They're experts. They know more and more about less and less until they know absolutely everything about absolutely nothing.
There you go. Sounds like a T-shirt.
There you go. Yeah.
Maybe it should be.
Yeah.
If it isn't already.
There are no,
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. That's a new one to me. I never seen a black, what do they call it? Dogfish shark?
Shark. Venomous viper dogfish.
Viper
or
dogfish.
Viper shark.
There you go. That's creepy.
There you go.
That does look like it's out of a nightmare, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Horrible looking thing. But I guess they must be good at what they do. It kind of reminds me of that How to Tame Your Dragon or whatever.
Oh, Toothless?
Toothless, yeah. He's not toothless, though. Jeez, he's got plenty of teeth. He's got that same kind of face, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Well, there you have it.
It's the eyes. It's all in the eyes.
It's in your news now. So, let's get
Something else you didn't need to know.
Something else you didn't know, you're welcome. That's what you get for tuning into this show, ladies and gentlemen. You walk away with all kinds of useless knowledge. And maybe something you needed. But you're more informed than you were, so that's what we're going after here. All right, next up on the news, we got another one from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this one's kind of creepy, folks. There is a video, and we're going to check this out. It's, I don't know what to make of it. Either it's very cleverly hoaxed, or could it be the real thing? I don't know. You decide. Video allegedly shows alien abductee vanishing from her bed.
Wow.
I do have another article on this.
Oh, yeah. I saw this video.
Yeah. So it says, UFO investigator Nick Pope recently commented on the clip that which went viral after it was featured by a local news site.
You remember who Nick Pope is, right?
Oh, yeah. Ministry of Defense. Yeah. The clip, which has come to be known as the Droitwich abduction video, was recorded in the UK in 2010 and had flown mostly under the radar until last year when a team of local researchers known as the Birmingham UFO Group, or BUFOG.
What's the name of your group? BUFOG.
We are BUFOG.
We are BUFOG.
Managed to obtain a copy of it. The story goes that the woman had believed that she was being regularly abducted by aliens and had decided to install an infrared CCTV camera in her bedroom to capture any potential evidence on film. The footage itself shows her tossing and turning in bed before seemingly disappearing into thin air with the bed covers falling down at the spot, which she had been lying just seconds before. She can then be seen to reappear towards the end of the clip, again seemingly out of thin air. The total amount of time she was missing was around 12 minutes. Frankly, there's not much middle ground here. It's either a hoax or something genuinely spooking and perhaps out of this world. Former MOD UFO investigator Nick Pope told the Birmingham Mail, "If I had the footage while I was working at the UFO desk, and if I had access to the camera equipment, I could have secured a proper scientific analysis using intelligence community imagery analysis, resources, and capabilities. That would quickly have told me if this footage was genuine or had been faked." Yeah, they do have some sophisticated means. But if you're curious, let's check it out.
Let's do it.
Who posted this? The Birmingham UFO Group. This is their channel, the 309 subscribers. So I don't know what else they got there, but it might be worth checking out. So anyway, let's check out the video. And I guess there's no sound, really, so that's good. Here's the woman here.
Make it big.
Make it big. Yeah, make it big. 10-4, making it big. She's sleeping right there. Keep your eye. It's a 2-minute clip, so it does go on for a while. But as we watch, you can see that... Where does this start happening? Okay, here's where it pretty much starts happening. And there it goes. Boom.
Wow.
Gone. Now, either she melted into her mattress in some kind of gimmick.
I know I've done that before.
The mattress is too soft. The mattress is too soft.
I was just drinking too much.
Now, her hubby's right here.
Yeah.
His feet are visible, kind of, at the bottom of the frame. But if you keep watching, she's gone for a while, and then I'll scoop ahead to the end parts. There it is. To right here, where boom, it's like she reinflated. Honey, you're stealing the covers. Oh, hey, need a bit of a box here.
Ain't no thing there.
So I don't know about you, but that's plenty creepy.
Yeah, that is kind of creepy. But I mean, that would be so easy to fake, though.
Well, sure. I mean, you never really see her. You just see a mass of her.
Right.
And if there was some, I don't know. I mean, if, of course, you got to look at this stuff in a skeptical eye because honestly, there's so many ways to fake this stuff.
To me, that's just too easy to fake. I wish
could be.
I wish Nick Pope would have been able to put his hands on the
on the original and the camera, sure. But it is interesting nonetheless. Could it be actual? Maybe. Disapparition of a physical human? Well,
diagonally.
In abduction scenarios, they're apparently supposed to melt through things, like people passing through windows and walls.
Yeah, but usually they from what I understand, mostly they like levitate, not like, sink through.
Maybe they were downstairs. They
Come
parked
down here.
They were parked in the garage.
They parked in the garage.
I don't know, but it is curious. What do you make of it? You be the judge. I don't know. It's one of those things now. Interestingly enough, it hasn't had a lot of traction until recently. It's been around forever. If it was a hoax, it wasn't really getting much traction for a long, long, long time.
Now it's going to be a traction hoax.
Yeah. Well, it's, if
how you doing, MCAT?
If the date is accurate, it's from 2010,
Yeah.
September the 12th. If it's from the UK, though, that's
that was
interesting.
Like 12 years ago.
No, it could have been December 9th because this is UK, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, December 9th. Yeah,
but 2010. So anyway, you be the judge. I'm not trying to convince you either way, but I'm just sharing it with you.
It's not my job.
It's not our job. We don't get paid to convince. We just bring you the stuff we find. All right, next up on the newscast.
What?
This is...
What?
I don't even know if I want to read this.
Glad to hear, MCAT. Nice to see you.
Good to see you, MCAT. Thanks for coming in, brother. Here we go with the next one. This is from unexplained-mysteries.com. New animism seeks personhood rights for non-human beings. The modern version of animism has become an increasingly popular movement, attracting large numbers of followers. A movement known as New Animism, which seeks to secure personhood rights for non-human beings through legal means, is gaining a following around the globe.
Like ghosts.
Yeah. New Animism environmental activities are not the only ones, or activists rather, are not the only ones using the term. Animism itself has become fashionable.
Of course.
Some spirituality bloggers talk about animism as a way to deepen one's spiritual relationship to nature. Scholars, from anthropologists to philosophers, have taken a renewed interest in the concept.
I identify as a cat.
I don't think it's that. I don't think they're talking about people that identify.
Sure.
I think they're talking about like rights for animals, so that
there's
they don't become food.
There's a difference between, trying to get their own, dog rights, cats rights. Don't kill them, don't beat them, don't be a dick. But cows, sorry, steak.
Yeah, it'd be tough to give up beef. I'm pretty much a carnivore.
I have a beef with that.
I mean, I have a heart about it. I always, try to be grateful.
Absolutely, yeah. You be grateful, and
Yep.
that kind of thing, and
Right.
show appreciation. But I mean, trying to get it as a person, come on.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll be voting next then or how that'll work, but it's way too long to read. But just so you know,
they probably will be
too long to download or read. Vote for animals. All right, there you go. On to the next one. I don't know what to do with that. I mean, yeah, I agree. I think animals have souls, and
yeah, absolutely,
and that they are sentient and to a degree.
David Barnes says, "I love pastrami too much." Yes, sir. Pastrami on rye.
Well,
a little sauerkraut, some Swiss cheese.
Unless they come up with a good vegan prime rib and steak, I'm just.
No. Well, they make a lot of that stuff out of soy, and soy is just not good for you. Not American soy, at least. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, I don't pretend to know enough about it. But here we go. Another one from unexplained-mysteries.com. Fate of the iconic alien hunting telescope in Puerto Rico is revealed.
Yeah.
The world-famous Arecibo Observatory had completely collapsed back in 2020 after its supporting cables broke. Right, situated in Puerto Rico and constructed during the 1960s, the instantly recognizable Arecibo Observatory was characterized by its huge 1,000-foot dish built into a natural depression into the hills. Yeah, I mean, there was video of that collapsing, and it was like, ooh, geez. We
watched it.
Yeah, we did. We showed on the show, as a matter of fact. Yep. You're right. Sadly, though, it now looks very different from its heyday, in which the dish cracked and split down the center, and its 900-ton receiver platform, which used to be suspended by cables 400 feet above it, lying in crumpled heap on the ground after its remaining supports failed 2 years ago. This unfortunate end to such an iconic facility was sadly all but inevitable after damage sustained during 2 earthquakes broke 2 of the cables critical to its structural integrity. Now all was necessarily lost. Not all was unnecessarily lost, however. Back in 2021, Governor Wanda Vasquez Garced signed a new executive order stating that it was to become Puerto Rico's formal policy to see the telescope rebuilt. Wow. Oh, that's cool.
That's a lot of freaking money, though.
That is. The government of Puerto Rico states, as a matter of public policy, its conviction to the reconstruction of the Arecibo radio telescope and the prompt resumption of world-class science and education at the Arecibo Observatory, he wrote. Now, though, it looks as though the telescope will not be rebuilt after all, mainly due to the cost, like you said, and because these days there are other radar facilities that can achieve the same thing.
That's right.
Existing funds dedicated to the project will now go towards rebuilding a new education center instead. It's a sad end to one of the most recognizable telescopes in the world, a facility that once appeared in Hollywood movies and that had become synonymous with the hunt for extraterrestrial life. You can check out more in-depth look into the story behind the collapse of the video below. Yeah, it's too bad. I don't know. I guess, we can't build things that last, so... And the technology, I'm sure, is so much improved since this was built anyway. So they can probably do the same thing with something that'll fit on top of your car.
Well, plus they have like the very large array, and they have,
sure,
the phased array radar. Mm-hmm. So, those are, the Arecibo is a past technology. It really, really is.
Sure.
And you couldn't really point it very well. So
right, it was just wherever the Earth was facing.
Pretty much, yeah. So but you've got the very large array, and you've got the phased radar, and it's just time to move on. I mean, it was fun, it was great. I remember watching it.
Love you, mean it.
The movie that it was in that sticks out to me mostly is Contact with Matthew McConaughey and
Jodie Foster.
Charisse, yeah, Jodie Foster. That was a great movie. They didn't do the book any good, but it was a good movie. The book.
Did you read the book?
Oh, yeah, of course I did.
Of course you did.
But there you go. You're welcome, David. I'm jonesing for one too. They make a great one at the deli right next door, though. But yeah, that time is gone. It's time to move on to newer technologies. Yeah.
I think you're probably right. I don't know. I mean, radio telescopes taught us a lot, I think, but I don't know if anything really earth-shattering outside of the wow signal was ever really picked up.
Right, yeah.
But who knows? All right. Next and last, we're going to go to the archives. This is a troubling story of
oh my goodness,
love and loss.
And loved again?
I don't know. Maybe. I guess maybe.
Like it.
Unexplained-mysteries.com brings us a story from August 9th, 2011. Woman can't stop eating husband's ashes.
Pika pika.
On a bizarre habit, a 26-year-old has been unable to resist eating the ashes of her late husband. 26-year-old Cassie lost her husband to a severe asthma attack. Oh, no.
Wow.
and first tasted his ashes when she got some on her fingers while transferring them from one container to another. Some of it spilled out on my hands. I didn't want to just wipe him away, so I licked it off my fingers.
Finger licking good.
And here I am today, almost 2 months later, and I can't stop. Despite the habit distressing her family and friends, Cassie finds comfort in having his ashes at her side. At one point, she is seen crying, holding the urn close, and talking with it. Oh, baby, I miss you. That's tough. I mean, I feel for the girl, or the lady, but
that's kind of creepy, though. I mean, how long did it last? I mean,
I don't know. This is from 2011, so I bet you it's...
Was it just like she was just using a Bendel spoon?
She'd have to be licking the jar by now. I don't know. I mean, I don't mean to make fun. It's, of course, mourning is a very painful, lonely...
The grieving process,
It's horrible. But, and certainly she loved this man.
Deficient, yes, apparently so.
I guess. Maybe, no, I just can't even do it.
Okay, then no, don't.
Yeah. No, I won't. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude our news journey for the night. I hope you learned something new. You have knowledge to take you forward until the next time we get together. So,
or at least I cracked you up enough that you just go, Don needs to stop with the taint jokes.
Oh dear God. But that's the news.
The news.
Can't ever get over that intro. That was gifted to us by Mr. Wes Germer of Sasquatch Chronicles.
Leave it to that guy.
Yeah, he's a creative. He's like a creative genius.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, he really is.
Bigfoot Lake. There's a new name for me too.
Bigfoot
How
Lake.
You doing?
Welcome to the show, man. Good to see you. It's fantastic to always meet new people. So thank you. Speaking of new things, ladies and gentlemen, we at the Portal have been doing some new things ourselves. And one of which, of course, a newer thing to the show is we have a Discord community now. And our Discord community is available. Don, do you want to put a link?
Yeah,
Don's going to put a link in the chat. If you want to become part of the Discord community, we'd love to have you there. And what we're doing is we're posting a question in our Discord community before every live show. They're called Questions of the Week. And we get to it here on the live show. So without further ado, let's get to the questions of the week. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Question of the Week segment on the Paranormal Portal. And this is, again, where we highlight a question. And actually, this last week, last few days, I posed the question to our Discord community. Do you have a question that you'd like to see people respond to and to talk about? And so we did get a winner this week, and this was from our Discord user named Within. And Within posted the following question. Don, do you want to read it?
Oh. Okay, so... where the hell was it?
Should be highlighted.
There it is. No, that's you. Well, dang it.
You went too far.
That's you.
Yeah, but keep going. Down. Yeah, keep going.
If we encounter a Sasquatch or even a dogman...
Read the actual highlighted comment. Keep going down.
Well, that's what I was going to do. Right there.
There you go.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, from user with it. Okay, fine. I've heard a couple stories where people had to tearfully ask for their dogs back from a Bigfoot. On one episode of the Sasquatch Chronicles,
that's right,
a guy said that a woman had Sasquatches helping out around her farm, and she was a caretaker for the young ones while the older ones were out hunting. Are Sasquatches and dogmen intelligent? Can they be reasoned with?
Good question, by the way. Thank you, Within, for helping me narrow that down. That was good. And?
So, Morganonymous says... Good question. I would guess that yes, they can be reasoned with. They seem at least intelligent as a toddler or a celebrity. Very nice. That was awesome.
Or a celebrity.
But more importantly, I think before you can reason with them, you most definitely need to gain some aspect of their trust first. Some aspect of their trust first.
Sure.
Otherwise, are likely on high alert and only thinking about how they will be absconding from the situation as quickly as Sasquatch dog-manly possible. Sasquatchly or dog-manly possible, on account of their being cryptid, as it were. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah,
but
it
hypothetically, in a habituation situation where they've seen you many times before and understand by now that you have no desire to bring them harm, nor do you necessarily feel threatened by them, I would expect that, yes, you could reason with them on some basic level, unless they're hungry. Either way, the spirit of self-preservation, there's a whole lot of unknowns and ifs that I personally wouldn't want to bank my life on. Yeah, it's a great closer right there. Yeah.
Excellent. Yep.
So there you go. Eric PHA, that stands for Purple Hobbit, by the way. Yes, I believe Sasquatches are intelligent, compassionate beings. Can't speak on dogmen. Well, yeah.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
hard to know.
You know, we have these stories though that say dogmen really we don't know of many attacks by dogmen or
Sure.
Results of attacks by dogmen. They seem to just count coup. They play with you.
Right.
They're just, it's like a dog with a bone. No, a dog with a ball. Because bones they eat.
Either that or when they do attack, they're just so good at it, there's no witnesses.
Yeah, and you're crunched to, pasty stuff. Left as a steaming coil, as they say.
There you go.
Seawood. He was awesome.
Yeah, Tom Seawood.
So Android Purity says, love that question. Better than what I could think of. It's difficult because it really is 4 different questions. It's 2 very different creatures. Also, just because something is intelligent does not mean it can be reasoned with. Good point. I know a lot of people like that. I think dogmen might be more intelligent than Sasquatch. Ooh. Dogmen are seen much less and basically never leave any trace. So they know how to hop in and out of our dimension somehow. Ooh. But he goes on to say, I doubt its technological device they use. I don't think they're intelligent that way. But either they're spirit and they are a spirit and can move, physically manifest, or some sort of creature beyond our wildest imaginations. Like those Stranger Things demogorgons that are just vicious beasts that found a weak point or a hole somewhere between our dimension and theirs. I don't think that they can be reasoned with. However, maybe they can be deterred if you happen to have a fresh steak or a turkey leg to place on the ground as an offering while you make your escape. That's interesting. That's funny because my mom used to put a pork chop around my neck. So that's enough knowledge as physical creatures to know that they stay basically completely elusive from close range of any high resolution cameras. They certainly can't be negotiated with verbally, but with hand gestures and an offering, I'm sure you could deter one from being aggressive. However, I don't see them as aggressive, so that would be rare to even need a reason to reason with one. They're just like gorillas. A gorilla is not going to come after you if it sees you standing 50 plus feet away. It's just going to go create more distance and walk the other direction just for its own protection. It's only going to be aggressive if you startle one somehow. If you've been hiding out in a tree stand or bushes for hours and it doesn't hear you coming, then you never made yourself known with noises, so it only notices you at the last minute, arm lengths away, and it might not be pretty.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's quite interesting. Yeah. But saying he really didn't address too much about Sasquatch.
Well, you missed it.
I did. It says Sasquatches are super intelligent. It's more intelligent than any chimpanzee or gorillas. I think they're about as smart as Neanderthals were when they lived 15,000 plus years ago. It's longer than that, but they can make basic tools and shelters. They know when they see us to keep our distance or their distance. They can They can when the thing in your hand is a weapon. They can when the thing in your hand is a weapon. Okay.
Yep.
But I still think. But see, he mentioned dogmen and jumping in and out of dimensions. Now, is that to say that Bigfoot or Sasquatches don't travel dimensions?
I don't know. It's at least with dogmen, there's at least some tangible evidence to that in the form of that video from Florida. Otherwise, it just seems to be anecdotal with Bigfoot phasing in and out of existence.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and then we also have Lee Hampel, his pictures, his trail cam pictures,
right.
that shows something. But
manifesting.
But it was there and gone, literally within the span of what, 3 seconds, 9 seconds?
Yep.
So, yeah, it was just incredible. But then again, you have people, Skinwalker Ranch. There was a report on the Art Bell show, so many years ago, probably about 95, I think it was 1995, when I heard this. And there were people out on a ridge. They were looking down. One of them, 2 guys, one with IR, one without. And the guy just naked eye couldn't see what the guy with the IR was seeing. And what the guy with the IR was describing was a portal open up and a dogman stepping out. So there you go.
Sure.
Well, anyhow.
Yeah.
Within answers the question, I think that Sasquatch and dogmen are intelligent beings for the most part. They're ancient, probably highly evolved, have gained a great understanding of the earth, and strategically choose to remain elusive. I absolutely agree. They know how to use human emotions like fear to control our actions. Sure. If they are extraterrestrial or multidimensional, as many have claimed, then they are probably consciously aware to the extreme. If a person finds themselves in a life or death situation with one of these beings and can muster up the courage to speak out loud or telepathically, it may be best to be respectful, no weapons, ask permission to be left alone, and go in peace. If they are convinced that they will be killed anyway, what's left to lose?
True.
Yeah, true enough. Run the crap out of yourself.
Yep.
Imagine exploring outside, looking for some pretty rocks, and you walk into a lair full of dogmen. Oh my!
Jeez.
That would be pretty wild to summon the courage of Lucian. Yes, on Underworld: Rise of the Lycans. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'd be like, start commanding. That's like, stop. Yeah, that would be crazy. Rigger Edge says, I don't think you can reason with one. After a little more thought, if an encounter lasts long enough that you're considering negotiations, you're already in trouble. Most sightings are a few seconds long if they don't turn and leave, and you don't either. You're on your own to win this standoff, in my opinion. Yes, definitely. ZX81 version 2 says, depends on if you're holding a squeaky toy. Let's see here. Oh, Rachel. Hi, Rachel. Let's see what Rachel says. For intelligence, I've listened to many eyewitness reports about both Bigfoot and dogmen reacting with apparent knowledge in their expression, knowing what guns and rifles are, trying to open vehicles. Bears open vehicles all the time. As a matter of fact, I just talked to somebody whose car got broke into by a bear.
Oh, really?
Just the other day.
Oh, God.
In the case of Claire, who came upon a Bigfoot family, the female apparently talked the male out of possibly killing her.
Right.
So it could imply that the female knew the consequences of killing a human would be. That is to say, probably humans are sentient in the eyes of a Bigfoot, so killing is wrong. As opposed to saying, kill the human, and the other humans will come after us. But that might be the case as well. It seems that dogmen, some at least, get some satisfaction out of frightening people. I agree. Since I'm taking them for this question as fully biological. Oh, she's considering these as fully biological for the answering.
Sure.
It would appear that they get a thrill out of scaring people. Absolutely. That takes a certain level of self-awareness. Very nice, yes. I know I'm scary looking. I know what I can do to scare humans. It's almost like an ego boost.
Sure.
Oh, why not?
Sure.
So, Lunicorn, and I bet you that's Luna Moonicorn, says, yes, both are very intelligent. I don't think we can measure the intelligence based on standards of intelligence. Our standards of intelligence, pardon me. If you threw me out in the woods, I would survive for only a short while with my small knowledge and survival skills. So in that respect, a Sasquatch dogman's intelligence would far surpass mine. Correct.
Yeah.
I think the question of Sasquatch dogmen can be reasoned with depends on the individual interacting and the situation. Humans can be hard to reason with, so I would assume that Sasquatch dogmen are similar. Yes, true enough. Situation would also factor in. Do they feel threatened? Is the person they're interacting with giving off a good vibe? Or bad vibe, it says, but yeah, same.
Sure.
Close to their family? Are you close to their family? Disturbing their hunt? There was a story from Believe podcast, we don't know who that is, where a Yowie family left a flower in thanks of a person leaving them fruit. That seems thoughtful and reasonable and shows intelligence. Yes, that would be reasonable. There is a Scottish folklore about a wolver or wolverman who are dog-headed men who keep to themselves. It lives in caves and fish. They would leave fish in the windows of villagers who are poor or hungry. That shows intelligence, compassion, and reason.
Wow.
Saint Christopher.
Sure.
Was depicted as a dog head. As a dog head. The legend is that he was like 7 foot tall and wanted to serve the strongest king. Some scholars say that he was depicted with a dog head because he was a Canaanite, a person from Cana. This is close to canine etymologically. Etymologically, yes.
Sure.
We know where we're going with that. I can imagine. However, in the early Christian, there's an older iconography. I don't know. Of a whole race of dog-headed men.
Sure, there is. Yeah.
The Cynocephaly. Yeah.
Yep.
Saint Christopher was supposed to have decided to dedicate his life to helping people cross a dangerous river, which seemed to be related to why people invoke him for protection.
Yeah.
This shows intelligence and compassion. His myth was probably based on older myths about dog-headed men who serve and protect the Egyptian god Anubis and the Egyptian people. There certainly seems to be a lot of stories, myths, and lore about them choosing to help people. Sorry to ramble. Great question. Actually, it was a great answer.
Yeah, it really was.
And I like the fact that she, brought up St. Christopher.
Yeah. And the cynocephaly.
And the cynocephaly, exactly.
Right. There are historic precedents for them being a very fierce race of warriors.
Right.
And in fact, they became so regarded and feared that sometimes armies that were overwhelmed with smaller numbers would don dogs masks so that the opposing army would think that they were these fierce cynocephaly. Is the cynocephaly a distinct humanoid? Maybe it was just cosmetic.
Right. Yeah.
There certainly is that possibility. But what if it was real?
Well, that's like bagpipes. If bagpipes were to strike fear in the hearts of the enemy of the Scots or the Irish, so so I could certainly see somebody going to war with, but think about the Japanese and the samurai armor that they used. They had those headpieces and not kabuki masks. That's something totally different.
No,
but
what is the word I'm
they
looking
had
for?
they had those masks with the demonography on it,
right.
and the jackal heads and things like that. So going into war with a helmet or some kind of a head cover that makes you look like something else would be terrifying.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Hey, Jaron, how are you doing, bud? Jaron says, I think dogmen are not of this world. I think they're real beings. They are real beings. Same family as Anubis, godlike power in the shadows because of that's what they're supposed to be. But they can still attack, then vanish. Yes. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. What can we really honestly say about it? You really can't. So,
right.
Yeah, intimidation, we use it all the time. Yes, that's one of the great American or great, human traits is to be able to intimidate. And, yeah, I agree. But there you go.
There you go. And thank you to everybody that contributed their thoughts on this discussion. And again, these will be posted in our Discord community prior to every live show. So, and if any of you out there hearing the sound of my voice have ideas and you're involved in the Discord community, or you're not, you can certainly email them to me as well. But suggest a question you'd like to see asked that you'd like people to discuss. I've just been blown away by the quality and the discussion and the different viewpoints, and it's awesome. And there's no wrong answers. Nobody's right or wrong. We just don't know. But
you know what I said about experts, right?
Go ahead. What did you say?
I already did.
Oh, today?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Experts are people who know more and more about less and less until they know absolutely everything about absolutely nothing.
Sure.
Yep.
And so there isn't any, as Wes says, any wrong answers.
Right.
It's just, what do you think? Based on what you've heard or checked out, things you've read. And basically for 99% of this paranormal stuff, that's all we have is anecdotal evidence.
Right.
But you can glean behavior patterns based on those, and you can glean insights just by examining the patterns that repeat in so many different accounts. So I really appreciate your guys' feedback. If and as we talk about these, you guys in the chat are also welcome to weigh in with your thoughts. Just type them out so in a way that we can hear or see them. I'm sorry, I wasn't watching the chat, so I didn't see if anybody else weighed in other than Jaron. Yeah. But that's always a possibility. But I love this possibility of putting questions out there and tying it into the live shows to tie the communities together, so they're not these little bubbles floating around, that they're all kind of cohesive and interworking. And it certainly is a fantastic discussion point every time. So thank you to everybody that contributed. And again, if you've got questions you'd like to see asked, by all means, let us know. We'd love to see them. So we're going to get back to the rest of the show here, and that is, of course, take it away, Don.
Jaron just asked, what do you think Wendigos are?
So just you know what, I will ask that question next.
There you go. Yeah,
that's a great question. What do you think Wendigos are? That'll be the next question of the week for Friday night show. That's a great question, because there's a lot of varying accounts and ideas. So I know that Android will have a pretty specific idea of this, because he's really looked into it. But it'll be great to hear what other people think as well. So,
and I've put in the Discord link right there. I've been spamming it in.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So just click on it and go to it and talk to us there.
Talk to us there, folks. We'll be there. What is it? Oh, he said I was. Ninja Dave says Ninja Dave 1970 says, I was on the shooting range at Norris, Tennessee, picking up brass casings, and I've had Bigfoot sightings near that location before. But it surprised me to see this guy appearing and then disappeared. Wow. That sounds fascinating. Yeah, there are people that have witnessed that. It's a strange phenomena. What does it mean? I don't know. I just don't know. I've got 1,000 different ideas of what that could mean. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
It's just so unusual. It's just unusual. So
it's starting to sound like a George Jones song. It's so unusual.
It's not unusual.
There it is. That's the one.
Loved by anyone. All right, so let's get to an article that we've been working our way through.
Oh.
And this is a BuzzFeed article that we're on number 14. I don't know. There's only a few more, I think, of this, but these are. This is an article that was recommended by Rachel, and we covered a few of them last few times. I think just last time. But anyway, it is Unexplained Spooky Events from BuzzFeed. And let me just zoom up here and see who is it attributed to. It is written by Kelly Martinez as a BuzzFeed staff. It's dated October 11th, 2022. People are confessing the spookiest unexplained events that have happened to them, and I'm locking my doors.
Ooh.
So we're on number 14.
14,
of course.
That's a 1 and a 4.
Thank you. That helps.
Comes after 13 and before 15.
Perfect. Way to narrow it down.
There you go.
A few years ago, 3 friends and I went on vacation to a resort. On the 3rd or 4th night, we all decided to crash early. Well, I shared a room with one friend, and our 2 other friends shared another room on a different floor. As I was lying in bed about to fall asleep, I turned over in my bed and saw my friend walking around the room. Well, I thought maybe he was texting his girlfriend or was just restless. He moved out of my sight, and I felt my bed sink.
Oh.
I thought to myself, is he putting on shoes? Whatever, I'm tired. I'm going to go to sleep. Next morning, I asked him where he went last night, and he said, what do you mean? I didn't go anywhere. Well, I asked him why he was walking around the room then, and he said he thought that was me walking around.
Oh.
No one else had a key card to our room. Yet we both saw someone walking around our room. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a little creepy.
Especially if you're at the Bates Motel.
Yeah. Or the Shining Hotel, whatever that is.
Sure enough, yeah.
Number 15. When I was a senior in high school, my dad drove me across the state, New Mexico, to check out a college. We were in the middle of nowhere in the desert, and we needed gas. We saw a small station and pulled into it. There was a note taped to the pump that said, "See cashier for payment." Well, there was one car parked onto the side of the building, and it didn't look like it had been there long at all. But we didn't see a single person. We walk up the building, and the door was locked. You could see all the merchandise still boxed up, and the shelves were empty. There was a door in the back that had a deep freeze pushed up in front of it, as if someone was trying to keep something or someone from being able to open it. It was so quiet and eerie. I looked at my dad, and he looked at me, and we quickly got back in the car and got the hell out of there.
Smart.
Yeah, that's all kinds of creepy. Trust your gut, folks. If you're ever at a gas station and it looks wrong, just leave. Just leave.
Yeah.
There'll be another one somewhere. Very strange. This one says, to this day, I still wonder if someone was in that back room, or this is
the rest of it, yeah.
Yeah, to this day, I still wonder if someone was in the back room and left for dead. Should we have called someone and reported it?
Ooh.
Probably. I think about that all the time. Could I have saved someone's life if I had called? Were they already dead? Was anyone even there? Or was it just an eerie coincidence that the freezer was positioned in that way? I don't know, but I do know that in that moment, I felt actual fear, and I think my dad did too. It was just a feeling of, you need to leave now, or something bad will happen. That was written by Kitty Queen Kayla?
Yeah.
I guess Kayla. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that is creepy. Yeah, I wouldn't stick around either. All right, number 16. I used to be a ghost tour guide in the Colonial Williamsburg, and one night shortly after the holidays, I was leading an extended 10 p.m. tour. We got to one of the stops, and I talked about the history of the location while a few people took pictures. Well, after I was done talking, one of the guests came up to me with her phone and said, "I think you should see this." It was a picture of me, and standing by my right shoulder was a large, dark figure with a smile that I can only describe as demonic. I cried, "Oh no." Well, that's not what they said, but you can see it here for yourself. We moved on with the tour pretty quickly after that. Well, I wish they'd included the selfie. That was by Big Pollution 2705. Yeah, that's horrible. Number 17. This didn't happen to me, but it happened to my mom's friend. One day, the friend and her sister were driving on the freeway, and I don't remember how it happened, but the car crashed and flipped and rolled 5 lanes. My mom's friend was the only one conscious. She was trapped under the steering wheel, and her sister's head was bleeding really bad. She said a normal-looking man wearing white appeared out of nowhere, came up to them, took off his shirt to wrap up the sister's head, and then left. When the paramedics arrived, she asked who wrapped the sister's head, and she told them. The paramedics asked where the man went, and she pointed to the direction he walked. The paramedics said they had just come from that direction, and no one was on the road for miles. They also said that if her head hadn't been wrapped, she would have bled out and died. Wow. That was by Strange Adoptness 220. That's divine intervention there, right, Don?
I would say so.
All in white. Come on, that's an angel for sure.
Yeah, because angels don't wear black.
No, they wear white. Because they're the good guys.
Are they?
Hello? I think so. Well, most of them.
They're like an 8-dimensional being. How the hell do you know?
Well, that's what they tell us. I'm only going by what they tell us.
Yeah, there's descriptions of them being like spaghetti monsters.
Yeah.
Like floating, eyes of the beholder.
Sure.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah, a lot of biblical references are
Scary
pretty
as hell.
scary. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
Are you sure that's not Satan?
I don't know what you are, but go away.
Is that Satan?
Number 18, and finally, I lived in a house that was a party house before I moved in. My roommate's best friend, who also lived there, had died in the front yard saving someone else from the highway. Several years later, I was bouncing the friend's basketball on the front porch as my roommate was loading. What? I was bouncing the friend's basketball on the front porch as my roommate was loading some stuff in his car to move for the semester. Well, at some point, the ball ended up in the bushes by the door. I said bye to the roommate. He left, and I went inside. A few hours later, I walked into the kitchen, and the basketball was on the island. I froze in the doorway for several seconds. This basketball had never been inside the house. Once in the 4 years that I lived there, and it still gives me the chills anytime I think about it.
Wow.
Ooh, that was an apport, right?
Yes.
So that was the end of that article. It shows the Homer backing into the hedge. I'm not here. I'm not here.
Boy.
Oh, man. Tough deal. That's some spooky stuff, huh, Don?
Yes, it is.
Yikes. Love a good ghost story, though. This is the holiday season for it, but it's always Halloween here on the portal. So
it's apparent. Congratulations, MCAT, by the way. He's improved his diet and is losing weight. That's awesome. Farm says, MCAT, remember to slow down so you don't end yourself getting back in shape. And I as much as I absolutely love that idea, I am a shape. I'm a circle. Thank you very much.
You're kind of more like an oval.
Gosh, so judgy.
I am too, though. So what can I say?
Judgy.
Yeah, we're just
I'd rather be an ellipsis.
Yeah. Well,
dot.
Yeah. But there you have it. There you have it, folks. That was a good article. And we're going to go over to another one. And this one is not the one I want to read. Where is it? Here it is. And then we got some Sasquatch Chronicles stuff coming up yet. I think I want to do, what is this one? Oh, this is the other one. We already did that, though.
Oh, yeah.
So this isn't another one. I don't know. I don't remember even where I found this, but I found it somewhere online. Oh, I know Charles Howard Johnson had posted this on his Facebook
the
feed.
Pops. Yeah.
Have you heard of Higgy Pop?
Higgy Pop. Yeah, Higgy Pop. They're the one that has that paranormal award thing. The Higgy Pops.
Oh, do they? Okay, Higgy
Isn't
Pops.
that them?
I don't know. So. I can't imagine there's too many, but from Higgy Pop, and this is kind of interesting. I don't know. We'll talk a little bit about it as we go through it, but this is an article. It's not true that science won't ever be able to explain the existence of ghosts, if indeed they do. Well, of course they do, right? Right, Don?
Wait. Go back and read that. It's not true that science won't ever be able to explain the existence of ghosts, if indeed they do. So if they prove it. So
no, if indeed they exist. Is what it's saying.
If indeed they do exist. Got you.
Yeah. That's the key there. Right there.
Words.
Darn words. And I was watching a physicist. He was talking about the Large Hadron Collider, and he said, there's no way ghosts exist, because if they were, we would have seen the particles that they're made up of. Really?
No,
are you sure?
No.
Are you sure?
Because if you talk about dimensions and
right,
shifting,
and we're talking quantum mechanics and stuff, there's so much, much more, and we're talking transdimensional stuff, right?
Right.
So if we believe that the energy part of ourselves goes to a different dimensional reality,
I mean, if a dumbass like me can figure that one out.
Yeah. Well, you're not a scientist, though. You actually have an open mind.
Wow.
That kind of helps in
Sometimes
this.
flies fly in and out. I just don't get it.
People often say that because ghosts are outside and beyond the understanding of science, we'll never be able to understand what ghosts are. However, this is a misnomer. If ghosts do exist, then one day the science behind them will be uncovered, even if we don't understand them today. Who did write this, by the way? It just doesn't say. Just from October 18th of this month. So very good.
Wow.
Scientists aren't
yesterday.
Yeah. Scientists aren't the fun police. Science isn't a book of rules on what can and can't exist in the universe. Science is the process by which we understand nature. So if ghosts can exist in nature, then science does have the potential to understand them one day. Science does not currently accept that ghosts exist. To combat this criticism of the paranormal, believers often claim that it's not possible to obtain any evidence because ghosts exist outside of science. The good news for believers is that this isn't true. If ghosts do in fact exist, sooner or later, science will be able to gather evidence and gain an understanding of them. Well, I don't think until we actually start diving into the Tesla idea of just, of exploring the non-physical. But anyway.
That's hidden science.
Oh, yeah.
That's hidden science.
The misunderstanding here is that just because science doesn't acknowledge or understand something does not mean it doesn't exist. Well, but science says it doesn't exist. That's the problem. Yeah. They're speaking as if they are this authority on it. So whether or not they may someday understand it, sure.
They're experts.
But they're not shy about saying this is all ridiculous, Most scientists, I mean, there are plenty of people out there that are in the fields of science that have open minds, but most established science would say that.
Interesting. Rachel says they're looking through the wrong lens. You can't use a telescope to study microbiology.
Good point. Lightning was striking the Earth hundreds of million years before scientists understood that each strike is caused by electrical charges in the atmosphere. Electricity existed before science understood it. That's a good point. Yeah. Ancient humans could be excused for thinking of lightning as the wrath of God. It would have been seen as magical and unexplainable, almost supernatural. We eventually realized that lightning isn't magical or heavenly. We now have a good understanding of the science behind it. If ghosts do exist, then it stands to reason that just like lightning, we will one day be able to gain a scientific understanding of them too. This really only leaves us with two possibilities of the nature of ghosts. One, the first is that ghosts don't exist and those who report them are misdiagnosing ordinary things, being fooled by their own senses, or are intentionally making these experiences up. Or two, the second and perhaps more exciting possibility is that ghosts do exist, but scientists haven't yet found a way to explain them. Science is all about obtaining evidence to gain a better understanding of something. After decades of paranormal research, very little evidence has been gathered that proves the undeniability that ghosts exist. So the first of these possibilities is by far the most likely. Not really, because the tools that are being used are used by, they're utilizing tools that were never meant to locate ghosts.
Right.
They're utilizing EMF detectors, which is used to find electrical faults. They're using, things like radiation meters and heat and the basic fundamental tools they can get their hands on. Now, the fact that they figured out ways to utilize them to possibly indicate spiritual presence is, in my opinion, kind of genius. Does it stand up to absolute scientific scrutiny? Maybe not, but there's no other tools available. We haven't found the energy that these things are detected. We can't even detect our own energy using a voltmeter. Right. I mean, you can't connect a voltmeter to someone and see how many amps is running through them or whatever, microamps or whatever. You can't. Maybe there's a way to do it, but generally speaking, an electrician can't tell you what your voltage is. Right. So it's bringing a hammer to install a chandelier. We only have so many tools available to us and we utilize them as best we can. So anyway, let me get back to this. Of course, you can use the scientific method to prove that something doesn't exist. A simplistic example would be addressing the claim, the moon is made of cheese. Well, we've been to the moon, we've taken samples of it, and we found it's made of rock, not dairy product. It's the job of the paranormal researchers to prove an as of yet undiscovered branch of science that might explain ghostly sightings exist, but claiming that science can't understand ghosts isn't a valid excuse for lack of evidence that currently exists. But again, the tools don't exist.
Right.
These are tools developed by people in their garages, or people that are maybe mechanically and electronically adept, are trying to figure out ways.
Huffs of the world.
Yeah, the Steve Huffs, the guy that made the millimeter whose daughter died, so many other people are out there innovating and coming up with different theories to test, including using the Xbox motion detector to figure out that, hey, we can possibly detect figures.
Right.
I can't remember the name of it, but a structured light camera is what it's called. The
SLS.
The SLS system. Yeah. So, basically the researchers are left to try to grab pieces and make something that maybe does work, but they're not scientists.
Right.
Okay, it says, but science doesn't set out to be a definitive collection of knowledge of facts. Yes, it does,
Yes,
unfortunately.
Because
It
the
really
science
does.
is settled. Remember, they settled science all the time. It's fact.
They tell us everything that doesn't exist all the time. And that's utilizing their knowns.
Right.
But there's so many unknowns but science does position itself as a definitive authority over so many things that it has no business.
All you have to do is look at the fossil record.
Yeah. I like to bring that point up, though, because the fossil record is not a complete compendium. It's an evolving compendium of discovery. The fossil record, if we've only found 14% of the species on the Earth, then the fossil record is bound to be a hell of a lot bigger eventually. But it's just what's been dug up. So, but it's also often used as this authority. Well, there can't be Bigfoot because there's no indication of them in the fossil record. Well, there's really not many indications of chimpanzees either, but we know they're around.
Yeah, exactly.
So, there you have it. But that's what historical books are for. Science is merely a way of working which allows us to validate or discredit proposed facts before they make their way into the history books. But it's by its very nature, science should prove itself wrong time and time again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it does. It does. Look at pharmaceuticals. It is true that our current understanding of the way the world works around us may not be actually correct understanding, but this fact doesn't prove that ghosts exist. It doesn't disprove them either. The statement is irrelevant, just like in the previous example of lightning. The limited understanding of the ancient humans did not mean that lightning must have been a supernatural phenomena. The simple fact is that nothing exists in the eyes of science until it has been proven. So if you don't like the fact that ghosts aren't accepted by the mainstream science, then the onus is on you to come up with a new and unique experiment which proves they exist.
But they turn around and say that's not a scientific process.
Right.
You can't use that because it's not a scientific tool. But until the tools, as you just said, are invented, are designed, how the hell else are you going to do it?
Right. So I think this is a very well written article, and I appreciate definitely what the author is saying here. But unfortunately, the hubris of science makes itself authority over things it has no knowledge of.
Right.
Now UFOs weren't real, and scientists would tell you that all day long.
Right.
Until the Navy came out and
see these tic tac things?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, oh well, maybe they're real.
And then
maybe we
Tom
should
King
start.
Dog's got a hold
And then
of it.
NASA all of a sudden is interested in in researching and looking.
Right.
And where were they all the time? These people are like, hey,
So there's been a lot of conversation so far in the chat about this, and Jaron says one of the first things that pops up that I see, it says, it's weird how they deny ghosts, but bring up that energy never dissipates. It's always there. It's just in a different form. Very true.
Sure.
Also, Luna Monocorn, this addresses what you just said. Crazy how some scientists retire from the NASA and the DoD, and such then begin to publicly acknowledge paranormal things.
Sure.
Jaron says it's just exactly like cops that retire and they say that they've seen Bigfoot or dogmen, and they didn't want to say anything because they didn't want to sound like they're crazy.
Sure.
Matter and energy, the ones that blow me away are the ones that speak back to us with direct understanding. So Jaron's responding to intelligent haunts.
Yep.
And he also says, he goes on to explain basically a stone tape issue.
Sure.
So things like that. So, lots of discussion. Thank you, Jaron, and also Luna Moonicorn, and always Rachel. They're always bringing up good points. So there you go. I mean, there's a lot of talk in the chat saying, yeah, this is ridiculous. Anyhow.
Yep, very good. That's a great part of our chat community. You guys are a part of the experience here, and you bring a lot of great thoughts to the table. Much like in Discord, the ongoing chat to the live shows is just as relevant and a big part of what we do here. So,
Pharmacy says, no new tools allowed.
None.
Unless they're invented by a scientist.
Science!
She blinded me with
science.
Oh, he's late. Wow.
She blinded me with science. Yeah, they do that. They do that, Don.
They do.
All right, we've got a lot more to go through here on the show, so I hope you're not too busy.
I'm not.
Okay, because we can dive right into some more stuff.
Slightly.
Are you ready?
Yes, slightly.
All right, we're going to move over to
Never
some...
heard of her.
Who?
What you were about to say.
Just because you can see my monitor doesn't...
I love that guy to death. That guy's awesome.
We do. We love Wes. He's a fantastic friend, and he's been a big help to us here in the portal. We are very lucky that the people that like us, including all of you.
And we still can't figure out why.
Yeah, we don't know why you guys are here, but we're sure thrilled you are.
Yep.
It's like watching a slow-moving train wreck.
Right? Yeah. It's like watching a slow-mo train wreck. Yeah. That's
what are these idiots going to do next?
Damn. It's crazy but true.
It is. It's how we live. But we love that you guys are here. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Why don't we do shout-outs before we get into this next stuff?
Yeah, so let me take a look at the list for shout-outs.
If you want to be on the shout-out list,
really
you got to chat.
You got to say something. I'll give you another 10 seconds before I actually start reading names.
1002.
With that being said, don't forget you can get your Paranormal Portal gear at Teespring, Teespring Paranormal Portal. Go to Teespring. You'll find us. All right, anyhow.
10.
So, good timing. So, Aggravated Progressive is here. Blue Crew's just popped in. Digger Dog. Hey, Digger. There's Jaren, Kristen Lee, MCAT, as we've mentioned. Ninja Dave is
Kirsten?
here. Kirsten, yes.
Okay.
Kirsten. Kirsten, yes, very good. Rachel's here. Ruger Ridge. Sandra's here. Sugar Britches. The Pharmacy Seed Network. Mr. Farm, how the hell are you? Wonder Woman is here. And, there's Jake Fortes. How you doing, buddy? Mara Murphy is here. Come on, I'm almost done. No, I actually am done. I'm just waiting for one more person to pop in. The next person's going to get a shout out, and then I'm done with it.
You said Sugar Britches, right? So
I said Sugar Britches.
I guess that's...
I guess that's it, because, nobody else wants to get...
Lucky Gypsy 13.
Lucky Gypsy, there you go.
There's a new name.
Yeah, that's a new name, definitely.
Welcome to the show. Thanks for being
Luna
here.
Moonicorn just popped in. Okay, I'm done.
All right, it looks like that's
all
that's chatting, and that's fine.
Dawson J just popped in late.
Who did?
Dawson J.
Dawson, good to see you, Dawson. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Lane.
Hi, Lane. Good to see you. So we're going to get into some articles now from our good friend, Mr. Wes Germer at Sasquatch Chronicles.
Sasquatch Chronicles.
All right, and he's, I know everybody knows the podcast, and I like to say this because I know that a lot of people visit SasquatchChronicles.com, but I'm hoping all of you do too as well, because it's not. There's so much information over there on the blog. It's crazy. I mean, he does a show, public show a week, and a member show. But there's so many things that are posted on his blog. He's every day updating this thing and posting new stuff, and sometimes he features our stuff, which is really cool. But if you're looking for some great information about the Bigfoot phenomena, about a lot of different phenomena, actually, he features a lot of different things on his blog. So go to SasquatchChronicles.com and check it out. And the first article up tonight on the Sasquatch Chronicles blog is from October 16th. Says, okay, we're leaving.
All right.
A listener writes, hey, Wes, wanted to read out to you. Reach out, sorry. This font always drives me crazy.
And I'm the one who's got to go to the
yeah, no, I need to go to the optometrist. Believe me, I just haven't. Hey, Wes, wanted to reach out to you about a situation I found myself in this morning at about 3 a.m. Eastern time. I live in the southwestern part of New Hampshire, and this morning, we walked into the woods to get to a spot I wanted to show him. So, somebody. On our way out to this location, which is about half a mile up a rail trail, I don't know what a rail trail is, but alongside of a big pond, we made sure to be noisy to alert any black bear that may be around. We made it to the spot, which turns into a peninsula surrounded by water. We made sure that there was no animals or anything in this little peninsula and walked in. We were quickly closed in by two things that sounded to be bipedal and heavy-footed. We had a very bad feeling, so we loudly yelled, okay, we're leaving. As we approached the rail trail, the sound of those two things on either side of us ran across the trail into the woods across the way. We made it to the trail and walked back towards our car, but this whole time we could hear one of them walking alongside of us in the tree line. This is where it gets even more strange.
Like it wasn't already.
Two doe about 100 feet ahead of us hop out of the woods and wait for us on the trail and walked out with us as this thing was still alongside of us.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like it's that. I mean, I don't think deer usually like people, but
If they like
between the
much,
two, they like us a hell of a lot more than the Bigfoot.
Whatever is following.
Yeah, because I think they know that most of the year we don't take them out unless they hit them with cars. But I think for Bigfoot, it's always on the menu. So, what?
Unless we hit them with the car.
Oh yeah, rail trail is an old rail line converted to a park-like trail.
Yeah.
All over New York here.
Yeah,
Okay,
we got
gotcha.
here too, yeah, because we've got hundreds of miles of empty rails
Hundreds. That's what I say on the podcast. Hundreds of episodes.
which is not true.
No, it's actually over 1,200.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or no, more than that. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, there's lots of them.
Yeah, there's more than 1,200. Yes.
Yeah.
Whew, damn.
That's a lot of episodes, folks. There's
No
a lot
wonder.
of us here on YouTube.
That's why I'm so good. There's a lot of us to show.
We take up some real estate here on the servers, I'm telling you. So thank you, Farm, for that update. I did not know what a rail trail was, but that's the first article from Sasquatch Chronicles from the blog. Definitely check it out.
Yeah, I think if the deer are following you, they feel pretty safe. And
Yeah, isn't that something? Because they're like, no, go to the people. Go to the people.
Yeah.
They don't have any forks, do they?
Don't
Nope,
follow
go.
me.
So, and then they walk alongside like they're domesticated.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's just not normal. Either those are very
how you
sick
doing,
deer,
George? Yeah.
or they're very scared.
Yeah.
And you're much less. You're much lesser of the two evils.
There you go.
Yeah. So, and that's got to be an intimidating feeling as well. It's like, Jesus, even the deers are following us. Oh my God. But it does speak to the intelligence again, that same question we just asked in Discord, because a deer is always on the menu, but people just aren't. Normally, I don't think they actively hunt us because, my God, there wouldn't be any Sasquatch reports if they hunted us.
Right.
There just wouldn't be. Anytime they were around and we were around, we would be done.
Yeah.
I mean, we would just be done. That we just physically, powerfully, agility-wise, and terrain-wise, we are just so outclassed, just extraordinarily outclassed. Even the best of the outdoors people that we have in the human race would be like a turtle, next to a cheetah. I mean, it's just such a difference. Physically, they're just capable of doing so much damage, and they could pound you into mud in about 30 seconds.
Sit on it and squish him into jelly.
I'm gonna mash you into jam and put you on bread. But whatever the case is, they made a conscious decision to not attack these people, and not go after the deer either, which were right by the people.
Yeah, exactly.
So they just didn't want to be seen.
Yeah,
So that's an intelligent response. I mean, if this is indeed just a prey creature, just an animal. Animals are generally afraid of people, yes. But that, I mean,
Boy, they have to think something big and powerful to be more scared of that.
Yeah. It is just, but it is an intelligent response not to pursue us, but to intimidate us out of their spaces. That's a very strategic thing.
Turtle.
Another thing is that if you think of tactics, that's like some serious military tactics. Shadowing. I talked to a guy that was in the service, and he would talk about that they were trained when they were tracking. If they were close, when the person that they're tracking or trailing walks, they walk.
Right.
When the person that they're trailing stops, they stop.
Right.
And it's such an intimidating thing because the person kind of hears something's behind them. They don't know what, they don't know where. And this is a tactic these beings have developed. And it's strategic as hell because it's psychological.
Right.
It's psychological. They're not seen, but they're heard.
I must be hearing things.
And can you imagine the psychological impact of that? Right. You hear something huge walking, and it sounds like it's maybe 15 feet from you, but you can't see it. Oh, man, that's a mind bake.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but it's intelligence. It's like a very keen intelligence.
And so we read a story last week or the week before about them being chased out. They thought they were being chased out. They turned around and actively went the other way, and they still had the pebbles and the rocks thrown at them, even though they had turned around and went the other way. This person said, "Okay, we're leaving," and then they were left alone. They were trailed.
Yep.
Which is to be expected, but they weren't messed with.
Right.
But the one that we read the other day, it was rocks in, rocks out. So
Yep.
they were driven out.
For sure.
So, is there, can would the reasonable part of their mind say, well, they're leaving, we're not going to mess with them?
Right.
Or was that a different creature last week?
Sure.
That messed with them in and messed with them out?
Could
or
be.
was there a different situation where they were near a nest or something like that?
Sure.
That they really wanted you out? So there you go. It does seem reasonable.
Right.
It does seem intelligent.
Right.
It does seem empathic in a way.
Right,
So.
certainly. And another thing that really displays intelligence for the Sasquatch is so many times we've read stories of people going out in off the grid hiking and camping, and they go into this beautiful area and they'll set up camp and stuff, and it starts out with little things. It starts out really, really subtle but intimidating.
Right.
It starts out with, I felt like I was being watched all the time. Mm-hmm. That's the big one that starts, or a feeling of dread came over me. And it seems like they can possibly influence emotions, as some of our Discord community had said too.
Right.
But then it escalates. It's psychological warfare. I mean, to the T. It's psychological, because it starts out with this imposing presence, and they can't put a finger on it. They're looking around. They're just not comfortable. So, they build big fires. The people build big fires, and they try to, thinking it might just be an animal or something just to keep it at bay.
Right.
And it continues. And then, so they tuck into their tents.
Right.
And their tents are pelted and stomping around the campsite.
Right.
So these people are not getting sleep. They're being constantly intimidated and
Right.
psychologically spooked.
Yep.
And then it goes up to like bigger rocks getting thrown. And it's just so methodical and precise what they're doing, but it's absolutely psychological warfare.
Absolutely.
They don't want you there. They start mild and they ramp it up. It just the longer you're there, the more this activity is going to get ramped up until it probably becomes dangerous.
Well, see, that's like what when we interviewed Stacy Brown Jr. in Phenomicon in Utah.
Sure.
He said that it started out as
Yes.
pebbles being thrown at him. He noticed one to go to the left, and they were noticing pebbles.
Mm-hmm.
But at night, he said that there was like the tent was like pressed down on them.
Right.
And
yes.
he did.
That happens too. A lot of times people are grabbed through their tents.
Yeah.
Like oh my God. And if you're being grabbed,
Right.
that removes about 99% of the wildlife possible.
Yep.
I mean, you're down to just
I think it's more like 99.9.
either it's a human being or it's something else.
Yep.
And depending on the size of that grip,
Yep.
like if it takes up your whole forearm,
Yeah.
you're in trouble.
You're done.
You're in such trouble. You need to leave. You need to get out of there now.
If you can, because if it's got a hold of you, you're done.
Right, but generally they do that. They just grab, or what was it? Tom Seawood's guy from Minnesota. He was talking about how a hand came through the tent and pressed against his face.
Right.
And he said it covered his whole head.
His whole head.
His whole head.
Yeah.
He never saw it, but
Like-
they knew it was
like
there.
Will Chamberlain in the basket.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this big
huge
mitt
claw.
just over his face,
Oh my God.
touching, pressing, and then it didn't squish him. It just pressed into his face and out, like it was feeling, through the tent what's there.
It's blind.
Yeah, so
Needed to feel its way.
but it's
that's
so
what you sound
methodical.
like.
It's
Wow.
so methodical, and it's very strategic, extraordinarily so.
Yeah.
I just am so marveled by that intelligence. All right, let's go to the next one, and this is from Sasquatch Chronicles as well. And this one's dated October 16th. The figure in the window. Now, this is a live episode now, so you can go listen to the whole episode on Sasquatch Chronicles if you haven't already. And I would recommend you do that for sure. A listener writes, it was the summer of 1977, the summer Elvis died. My dad was a contractor building barracks at Fort Polk Air Force Base in West Louisiana. We went out of there for the summer to spend summer with him in Leesville, Louisiana. We lived in Miami and usually spent summers where Dad was working. Where we stayed in a single wide with an add-on on the side out of it on the Toledo Bend side of Leesville. It was me, I was 7, and my sister was 9. Was in the add-on room as an extra bedroom, and my mom and dad was in the main bedroom of the trailer. One night, my sister and I were almost asleep when we heard something outside the wall. I looked, and a figure appeared in the window and seemed like it was looking in at us. Now, I might add that there were four steps up to the floor level, and then to have a head level at the top of the window would have put this figure at about 9 feet. I remember my sister gasped, and we both got up and ran over to our parents' room. We tried to explain what we saw to our parents, and Dad kept saying it might have been a neighbor teenager kid peeking in the windows. For years, we had joked about the shortcut to Mommy's room, but to my knowledge, never brought up the figure in the window again. From what I can remember, this figure was massive and filled the entire window. I saw eyes like a yellow eye shine, but there was no light to reflect. I pretty much had forgotten about this whole encounter, but as I'm listening to the Sasquatch Chronicles, currently on about episode 150 or so, I keep hearing about East Texas and Toledo Bend area, and it brought back the memory of that thing in the window. Well, a few years later, I think I was about 12, I was fishing with my dad in the Everglades, and all of a sudden we had a whiff of a foul stench came around us quite suddenly. Looking back now, I think it might have been a skunk ape nearby, or as you can call them, a swamp ape.
Because there ain't nothing like them.
Yep. Dad said that it was probably some swamp gas that burped up nearby.
Right.
Anyway, I'm enjoying the show, even if I do put it on to help me go to sleep at night. I'm glad it's not just our show that people do that with.
Yeah, no doubt.
I was wondering.
Nice to know that
wait.
puts them to sleep.
I know.
Is that good?
I get those emails all the time. I listen to you and I go to bed, and they ask me to turn down the break music.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Can you turn down the break music? It's too loud.
Why is Dawn so loud?
I listen to the stories, and then during the long musical outro, I find myself dozing off. One main thing I really like about the show is that it's just you and a few folks talking about stuff. It's not just you and a few folks talking about stuff, but you have real people that are sharing what they encountered. Mm-hmm. Yeah, encounter stories are great. They are fantastic.
By the way, you need to start listening to us as well.
Yeah, our podcast is quite lovely too. As a matter of fact, any of you watching this show right now, please know that we have a podcast, and it's not this. This is our YouTube show, but the podcast is an audio only, and it's available on all the major platforms: iHeart, iTunes, Castbox, Spotify, Google Play, Pandora, Stitcher. You name it, we're there. Just search for the Paranormal Portal wherever you listen to podcasts.
Luna Moonicorn says my dog gets swamp gas when they're sleeping. Yeah.
You might want to change your diet. I'm just saying. It works for me personally. I'm just saying.
Actually, rice and tomatoes would be good for them. But anyhow.
Really?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Rice and tomatoes? Yep. Do they eat it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
But remember, they aren't vegetarians. They just like it.
I know people feed dogs carrots often.
Cats are obligate carnivores. They have to eat meat. So
yeah,
they're not vegetarians.
That's funny because some of the canned stuff that we buy in Anubis and Pikachu, it's like, it has like rice in it.
Right.
Yeah, it's like one of the medleys from Fancy Feast or whatever.
Yeah, lamb and rice. Yeah.
I don't know. It's not lamb though. It's something Florentine, something chicken Florentine or something. I know. It's like, oh, damn things are so expensive.
I wonder why, because it's called Florentine.
I know.
Jesus.
It's exotic.
Can o' dog food.
Yeah, I know. Grow pup.
Grow pup.
That's what Mom used to say. You grew so fast because we fed your grow pup. I don't know if she remembers that. Do you remember that Portal, Mom? Grow pup? It's still in here. It's still there. I'm still damaged by that. No. My mom fed me dog food.
My mom tried to feed me to the dog. Yeah. Why'd you put the push up around my neck, Mom?
Yeah, that was your mom.
Exactly.
Exactly
it. Yeah. Jaron. Yeah, Jaron actually came to us from the podcast. Yeah, he didn't actually know who I was at first.
He didn't?
No.
Well,
he thought it was just you.
Oh, well.
Gosh,
on the podcast, a lot of times it is, but you and I have done many podcasts together through the years.
You just haven't gone back far enough.
Yeah, you got to go backwards a little more. Don's busier now than he used to be.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But he does produce them all, so everything you're hearing is his work.
It's our work, but...
Well, no, but I mean, you're making it sound good.
He does the easy stuff.
Yeah, I find all their interviews, put together information, deal with the podcasting company. But yeah, Don makes us sound good, so that's good. But yeah, Don's been on.
Luna Moonicorn says she found us at the podcast as well.
Oh, very cool.
Nice. Yeah.
Well, I hope you're enjoying the YouTube experience because this is quite a departure from our podcast. They're two very different shows. We do sometimes take YouTube episodes and port them over to the podcast, but primarily the podcast is a standalone show. It's not like if you see this one, you don't need to hear that one.
Right.
They're very different. The podcast is normally me talking to people who have experiences or people in the field as well. I mean, we do both, but I love talking to people that have encounters. To me, that's very powerful because that's what I'm really interested in. But I'm also interested in talking to researchers and stuff. Because
Thank you, Luna.
What'd she say?
She said, "Tain't the same at all."
You're not helping, Luna. I'm trying to keep this show together. You're not helping. Oh, dear God. Will my
all good, bud.
Will my agony never end? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Rachel. That's sweet. Nice job. Good modding right there. That's some solid modding.
That's it. Yep. That's how to do it.
Thank you. But yeah. This is we got another article. I don't know how far we'll get into it, but we'll read what we can. This is coming from Occult Museum. This is when is this from? It's just by Occult Museum, but I don't know if there's a date on it. Let me scroll down a little bit.
Dates are overrated.
Dates are overrated. It's on Occult Museum. That's all you need to know. It's a great site as well. Check them out. The Occult Museum. As a matter of fact, any sites that we feature on the show, please check out, support what they're doing. But the Occult Museum's full of a bunch of amazing ghostly stuff and spiritual stuff. So definitely check it out. All right, so this is 7 sinister true ghost stories to read in the dark. Hold on. Thanks, Don.
Yeah,
good thing I'm muted.
Yep.
After that day, I never heard a single voice again. I do not like to imagine what was waiting downstairs for me that night. Ooh, oh, that's spooky.
Her name was... Never mind.
Hold on.
he's choking to death over there. You got 2 bottles of water.
I know, but I just drank some, and it's kind of a tickly.
That wasn't water.
Yeah, I'm down to the tickly thing now.
Oh yeah.
Before it was my lungs were kind of full of junk. Junk. I got to keep this family friendly, but now I'm at the tickly part. Excuse me. All right, here we go.
Ninja Dave, why don't you just set up an interview or talk with Brent and do it for the podcast? You guys, that's what the podcast is for. Yeah.
It really is. We do the podcast to talk to experiencers. So if you got a bunch of experiences, reach out to me via email, paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. And if you got enough, we can do a show just with you.
There you go.
All right. The figure in dark robes is the first one on this list. I've told this to a select few, and while the creepiest, scariest is subjective, in the context of my life, it is truly the creepiest and scariest unsolved mystery. I was a freshman in high school in my hometown of La Crosse, Wisconsin. I lived near La Crosse, about an hour away, back in Minnesota. But I was sleeping over at my friend Tom's house. We were watching a movie in his living room, and he suddenly got a phone call. While I watched as he listened to what was being said on the other line, I watched his emotion poured over his face as he threw the phone across the room.
Wow.
After moments of crying, he told me that a boy at my school had took himself out. Now, I knew this boy not only through seeing him in the halls. My friend Tom and I didn't go to the same high school, but Tom had gone to middle school with this boy. Apparently, Tom bullied him during those years, and he wasn't proud of it. And to be honest, I was pretty surprised because he was a great guy. He had utter remorse. We decided to sneak out and go for a walk. This year is roughly 1990, maybe 91, and we were freshmen in high school. Now, sneaking out was nothing new. We always did it. At the time, we weren't into drugs, alcohol, or partying. He says at the time. Did that change?
Soon afterwards, we had our first encounter.
After this, yes. We just liked the freedom of walking the streets at night. The discussions were always great. Normally, we'd go walk through the big cemetery that was near my house.
Asking for issues.
Yeah, no kidding. It was behind the train tracks that still run through La Crosse to this day. We loved the danger of the cemetery, the scares. We were kids. It was a rite of passage, and as we walked along the train tracks leading to the cemetery, we stopped. To this day, I can't explain why. We had walked into the cemetery dozens of times and on scarier nights. For whatever reason, we didn't want to go in there. I don't know if the thought of death on our minds due to my classmate's suicide was a factor, perhaps regardless. Without really saying anything to each other, we stopped, turned around, and decided to head down a nearby street. Now, in retrospect, I do have to say that throughout this walk, things seemed off. There wasn't a car in sight. This was suburbia. Even walking through the town's main street was odd because there just weren't any cars. Odd. It was roughly after midnight. It was a weekend night. Where is everybody? Perhaps just a strange coincidence? Lastly, there was something in the air. Both Tom and I felt it. We even brought it up. It feels weird tonight. The air, the lights. So we decided to walk down a dead-end street, and at the end of the street was a ditch with a simple up and down, and on the trail that led to the street that I lived on, simple enough. Keep in mind, as I get into the horrifying part of the story, that we were in the suburbs. These weren't old, creepy houses with strange individuals, and the trees were small. It wasn't a brand new development, but it wasn't that old either. So as Tom and I are walking down the street, we're walking down to the road beneath our feet as we talk.
We're looking down at the road.
Yeah, we're looking down to the road beneath our feet as we walk. So, I don't remember the exact conversation at this particular moment. Perhaps we were talking about the tragedy of the night, but it could just have easily been about Star Wars or Akira. As we approached the dead end, which was a few houses away, Tom and I suddenly stopped. We did so at the same time without saying one word to each other. Our heads slowly turned towards each other, both sensing something. The hair on our arms, backs, and our necks standing high. Then our gaze slowly moved forward in unison, slightly to the right. And that's when we saw it. About 2 houses away, in a virtually barren front yard of a suburban home, beside some bushes, was a dark figure. It was someone or something in dark robes. No face, no features at all, just the robe. Now this figure didn't acknowledge us, not yet. It instead walked or moved in a certain way. I can't articulate it correctly, but if it was walking in circles slowly without really walking, it held something that was blowing in the wind, and yes, the wind picked up a little bit as well. Another odd element was the light that illuminated it somewhat. There was a street light a few houses up, but it wasn't strong enough to illuminate this figure as it was. Tom and I were frozen. In fact, I'm almost frozen as I write this. It's been a while since I've thought about this night. So there we stood, frozen in fear, staring at this dark figure moving, yet doing so without moving. And it was holding something, or perhaps what was blowing in the wind was more of its robe. I'm not sure. We stared at this thing for I don't know how long, until it stopped and suddenly looked up at us, as if finally alarmed by our presence. That was enough for us. We ran away as fast as we could. We cut through a side street that was to lead us to a parallel street across my neighborhood. This street led to a slight hill as we rounded the corner and started running up the hill in a panic. We stopped because on top of that hill, we saw another dark figure with its arms raised.
What?
We turned around and ran away in the direction of Tom's house, which at this distance was at least 5 miles away.
Wow.
We ran. Time stood still. The next thing I remember, we're lying in the middle of the courtyard of some other neighborhood that we'd never been in, gasping for breath. We sat up, and without saying a word, we walked in silence back to his house. The air felt normal again, although we felt like we were in a haze of sorts, albeit out of danger. We fell asleep in his house, and I woke up that morning and went home. A few days later, I rode my bike to that location. Perhaps it was shadow play. Perhaps there was a certain tree or bush, or maybe a for sale sign, or something that made it look like there was something else there. Nothing. It was an open yard. Tom and I didn't speak of that night for a long time. Years later, when I brought it up, he replied, "Yeah, what the hell was that?" As if no time had passed. What was it? I have no idea. We hadn't taken any drugs. We hadn't been drinking any alcohol. And I often wondered if it would have been a haunting, a specter, a ghost, etc. Maybe it was an alien abduction or sighting. We saw no craft, but there was the unexplained light, or maybe it was some other kids messing with us, but how would they have known we were coming? How could they have been so prepared? I just don't know. That was roughly 24 years ago, give or take. And yes, this is a true story. Sadly, my best friend Tom passed suddenly a few months ago. And I thought of this night during his funeral. I thought of returning to that site, and I thought of the odd coincidence of unexpected and surprising death, just like my classmate that night. Is there a connection? Were we seeing some future fate for one of us, which sadly fell upon my best friend Tom? Was this all some dual hallucination in my mind? No way. It haunts me at times. That was by Ken Miyamoto. Wow.
That's crazy. That's an interesting story.
Right? It's very freaky.
That's 24 years ago.
Right.
So, no, I don't think it was some specter coming for you in that sense, or some foreboding, shall we say. 24 years is a good long time. Now, if, like, he died within, like, a year and a half, 2 years, then it would have been different.
Sure. Yeah.
So I don't think,
I don't think one correlates to the other. The only thing I was thinking of was it perhaps some impression of the boy who had taken himself out, just remembering and going, yeah, there you are, you bastard,
Well, yeah, but
some
then
hate,
again,
some anger, unresolved anger that just separated, and it took it a little bit of a vengeance. I don't know. I don't know what to make of things like that. It's just projection on my part. I don't know. But that's pretty scary. Number 2, the little boy with no eyes. These are kind of long too, aren't they?
Yeah, these are pretty good.
One night when I was 10, I was asleep in bed and was woken up by my bedroom door opening and then someone sitting on my bed. I felt a graze on my leg and then the bed sink as they sat. Thinking it was my mom having something to tell me, I opened my eyes only to see a pale, eyeless, just black, empty sockets boy who seemed to be my age sitting at the foot of my bed with his legs crossed, staring at me, or facing my direction since he had no eyes.
Good point.
He then reached his hand toward me and was holding what looked like a little black box.
Nope.
Nope. I was freaked out, but as I reached to grab it, he hesitantly pulled it back.
Yeah.
I reached out further for it, and said, "Give it." And as I did so, I blinked. And by the time I reopened my eyes, he was gone. The spot on the bed where he was sitting lifted back into place, but the imprint of someone sitting there was still present.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
Don't ever ask something to give you something like that.
I know. How would you have the courage to look at an eyeless face and say, "Give it"?
Give it. Yeah, no, that's like something knocks on your door and there's nothing there and you open it.
You let it in. I told my mom in the morning and she was slightly freaked out, but assured me it was just dreaming. Fast forward 5 years, I had my girlfriend over to do homework. After homework, she took a nap while she waited for her parents to pick her up. When they arrived, I tried waking her to let her know. I nudged her and she opened her eyes so suddenly, already looking in the direction of the corner of the room where the wall meets the ceiling, lifting her finger and pointing. As fast as she woke, she fell asleep again. I attempted to wake her again and she came to full consciousness and asked her what the hell was that about, and explained what she had just did. She said, "Oh, I thought I was dreaming, but up on the wall I saw a little boy with no eyes just there in a Spider-Man pose staring at me." And that's when I freaked out and told her the story for the first time of what I saw, what I guessed was the same kid. Fast forward another 5 years, still with the same girlfriend, and by this time we had a 2-year-old daughter. We were living in my old bedroom at my parents' house. My daughter would wake up in the same time every night and start talking. For a while, we thought it was a normal baby thing until I noticed it was almost the same conversation every night. I playfully asked her one night who she was talking to every night, and she responded, "To a little boy. He talks to me. He's nice. He's lost and looking for his mommy." I told my mom what happened the next morning, and before I got to tell her what I thought, she said, "I remember when that happened to you, when your girlfriend, I have no idea what it is." By then, neither my girlfriend or I have seen the little boy after our first encounter, but my daughter continues her nightly conversations until we get to our own place later that year.
We've actually read that
Yeah,
before.
I know.
Yeah.
K-Mendo 4. And that's the problem with paranormal stories is they're often mirrored across several sites. So, if there's redundant stories, you've heard them before, it's just because they're in redundant places or different places.
But this was always a good one. I liked this one. I've always liked it. And what reminded me is when she said it was a little boy in a Spider-Man pose.
Yeah.
And that was like, yep.
The corner of the
one.
room.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
But that was a good one.
It was.
The one before it was even better, but you know what though? You know what time it is?
I did. That's what I just looked at. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're in the portal, folks.
There you go.
So, we're just about out of time, but of course, we just want to always, as always, if you're new to the show, if you're just checking us out and you're like, what the hell is this all about?
If you're new to the show.
Yeah, if you're a new viewer.
New, not nude. Gotcha.
No, not nude. Tain't none of that in here, Don. If you're new to the show, please subscribe, become part of the family, join the Discord, check out the podcast. And if you want to help support what we're doing, one of the biggest ways is just to like the streams, leave a comments on ones that you watch that are not live, and share them. Of course, that's a big way. Of course, there's monetary ways to do that through Super Chat or the donate text on your screen. That's possible. Or head over to teespring.com. Teespring is our gear site. I'm going to get it up. That didn't sound good. I'm going to open the site. I had to think about how to say it. Yeah. /store/paranormal.
You could have just scrolled down and hit the link.
Was it there?
Well, didn't you put it in?
I don't know. I thought it's not. I don't even got it here. Oh, I'm in the wrong browser. That's why.
Here it is.
You got it?
Yeah.
Send me a link.
Yeah, gotcha.
I'm going to put the link up as soon as Don sends it to me because
goodness.
for some reason my browser is not opening
He
it.
doesn't remember how to do this thing.
I do. I just don't remember if it's paranormal_portal or what. I don't remember.
All right. Well,
The link is in the show description.
that's where I got it.
Okay, thanks. All right, here we go. I'm going to put it up on screen for all of your viewing pleasure, folks. And this is our Teespring store. It's where you can go get your own Paranormal Portal gear. And there's some lovely items here to choose from. I guess
Why
I can
do
just...
I not see the rockers in there? Oh, there they are. They're way near the bottom, though.
Oh, they should be moved to the top.
They should, yeah.
But here's some of our gear, folks. If you're looking for some paranormal stuff, supporting the Paranormal Portal, this would be the way to do it. There's stickers, there's mugs, there's hoodies and T-shirts. There's these gaiters and sticker here. There's just different 100% paranormal. Some designs by our friend T-Fetch. Yeah, he put some designs up here to help us out.
Yep.
And
Hit load more.
Load more.
And they should pop right up. They should be.
And our most popular item, is
There they are.
Is the rocker collection right here. Most people have bought this. This is Don's personal design. Came up with it. So good job, Don.
Well, he gave me the idea.
Who did?
You did.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
But you did it. So you made it happen. There's several different items in the rocker collection to look at. It's called rockers, not because we're meaning like metal or rock and roll, but because these are called rockers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, these are called rockers. So it's kind of like a biker's jacket. And there's even a hat for the first time ever. We got a Paranormal Portal hat.
I love that bucket.
Yeah, it's got to load. Got to load the bucket. It's a bucket of fun.
There you go.
So it got the rockers, and then doesn't it have something under the brim?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says Paranormal Portal under the brim. How awesome is that, folks? You can have your own Paranormal Portal bucket. They don't have just trucker hats?
They do, but
Okay.
they have a stupid way to do them.
Oh, okay. So we haven't found a good way to do that. We got to get beanies, too.
Yeah.
Beanies are great for the winter especially. But there'll be more coming. We haven't added much in a long time, but ladies and gentlemen, this is our store. So if you want to help support it, the link is in the description, but it's paranormalportal.creator.spring.com. If you can remember that is a short version of that. But anyway, that's going to about wrap up our journey for tonight. Hope you had a great time being with us here on the show. It's always a pleasure. Don, anything in closing?
No, I think we've pretty much covered it all.
We've covered it all. So check out the podcast. Check out the Teespring if you're looking for some portal gear. Fly the flags.
We're looking for supportal gear.
Yes. And we'll look for you on Friday and Saturday. We do live shows here on YouTube Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. 3 nights. And then there's one podcast uploaded on Monday. So watch for those. And other than that, 4 shows a week. We're doing pretty good, I think. So check it out. I'll be back on Friday night. And Sheldon will be joining me on Saturday, I guess. So I guess that's all I got for you, too. So remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. Just like Don. Be like Don.
Be like Don.
All right. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next time when we do the next show.
Good night.
Friday night, 7 p.m. See you then.